Hey guys, how's it going? Riley here. We're at the AgriStudios office today to talk about Midland's line of GMRS radios. More specifically, how they performed on our farm in a real day-to-day use and how they stack up against more traditional business solutions. And why you might want to consider picking a few of these up for your operation. I'll be honest, when Midland originally reached out to me about sending us some of these comm solutions for our farm, I was hesitant. The farm has been using enterprise-grade business band solutions for over a decade, and I didn't see these GMRS radios faring well against their business band alternatives. To my surprise, these GMRS units actually outperformed the business units in some day-to-day tests during harvest out at the farm. Full disclosure, Midland is the sponsor of today's video. Thank you, Midland. They sent us several handheld and mobile units for us to use on the farm and for AgriStudios video production operations. There was no other exchange in addition to that. Midland did request to see an early copy of this video, but AgriStudios reserves the right to publish its own independent and honest thoughts regarding these radios. So let's get into it. First off, let's quickly break down some of the differences between GMRS and business band. So GMRS stands for General Mobile Radio Service and is a set of frequencies reserved by the FCC for individuals to use. Some low-power FRS channels are completely open for anyone to use without a license, but the other channels, which support up to 50 watts of transmit power, pretty impressive, do require a $35 license fee. No test or anything, you just gotta go online and buy the license. Then you're good to go. GMRS is basically like the new school citizens band or CB and consists of a set of numbered channels that you choose from, so you don't get your own private frequency for your farm. Business band is the go-to for professional and emergency services. A business or organizational entity is required to obtain a license from the FCC, which usually costs at least a few $100. But then the FCC assigns a specific frequency for only that business to use. Thus, you basically have your own frequency, your own private channel on business band. So these Midland radios operate on GMRS, and the business radios on the farm operate on a predetermined frequency set by the FCC. Now, let's take a look at what Midland sent us. First of all is their GXT 1000 handheld units. These are basically the same thing as a walkie-talkie that you buy at the sporting goods store. But these particular models, these 1000s, are surprisingly packed with a lot of features. They output up to 5 watts of transmit power. Next up is the Midland 115, the MXT 115 Farm Bundle. So this is a smaller mobile unit, really convenient size by the way, and it runs off 12 volt power, and this particular bundle comes with a 3 dBi low profile antenna. It's actually pretty cool. And then a mounting bracket for that for like a tractor mirror. And this outputs up to 15 watts of transmit power. Pretty cool. Last model is the MXT 500. This is my personal favorite out of all of these options. It's a larger mobile unit that can output 50 watts of transmit power. Let's compare these Midland radios to our existing business units, particularly in the areas of build quality, battery life, controls and usability, range, and then finally price and buying options. So here's a Midland handheld, which has a decent build quality and is kept to a lightweight and low profile design. This radio is easy to take with you wherever you go. Now by comparison, this business handheld has a more rugged build quality, but it's also much bulkier. So our harvest crew was much more likely to pack one of these Midland handhelds around due to its lower profile, and the build quality was still good enough to stand up to harsh conditions during harvest. The 15 watt Midland mobiles also have a decent build quality and a pretty professional looking design. I'd say this isn't quite to the same level as the business mobiles, but close. The Midland 50 watt, however, has a superior build quality. Seriously, this thing is built like a tank. It's awesome, and for the most part, exceeds the build quality of the business mobiles we use on the farm. Next up, battery life for the handhelds. So, honestly, this is where I think Midland's smaller form factor falls short. Our bulky Motorola handheld units can easily make it through a full day of frequent harvest communication, no problem. The Midlands at times struggle to keep up with a full harvest day before the dreaded low battery alarm would go off. You can recharge with the included 12 volt adapter on the go in your vehicle, so that's handy, or just replace the battery with AA's, that's also handy. But honestly, these are cheap enough. You could probably just take 2 units out with you, have an extra on hand, no problem. More on the pricing later. Next up is going to be usability. For handhelds, the Midlands feature a backlit display, several front-facing buttons, and a power volume knob. These business handheld radios have, they kind of range from no display to having a display, but the buttons are slightly more confusing and unlabeled. The Midlands have several features that can be programmed right from the unit's menu, where the business units usually require pre-programming via a computer to set up the channel features. The Midlands also have built-in NOAA weather radio, which is really handy. Yes, the business units can support it as well, not quite as intuitive. So, all that goes for both the handheld and mobile units from them, and similar story with the mobile units. Both have similar display types, though this newer Motorola unit we have in a grain truck has a really nice dot matrix display. Midland offers more settings that can be adjusted right on the radio, where many business units require pre-programming, often by a professional. I really like the jog wheel on this Midland 50 watt, as well as the channel up and down selectors built right on the mic as well, which the 15 watt also has. So let's talk about range now. And boy, was I surprised by the results we got here. From day-to-day use applications, we can expect our business mobile units to reliably reach each other from, about 10 miles apart with limited line of sight, sometimes over 20 miles away if you have a clear line of sight between the two units. This is similar in performance to Midland's 50 and even 15 watt mobiles. In fact, we even had a case where our grain cart operator was able to use a 50 watt to communicate with an individual over 40 miles away on a mountain.
I say I'm up here out of Landusky. You say you came down there at Winifred?
Yeah, we've got some new radios, just experimental. They're letting us use, and I've got the big 50 watter here in the tractor.
So I'm just gonna do a crappy digital zoom in on my phone. Those mountains over there, way in the distance, that faint blue, that's about 40 miles away. That's where those transmissions were coming from on the radios. That's a heck of a distance. So that particular instance would likely be achievable with business mobiles as well, but it's cool to see that the Midlands do it. And we could listen in on the little 5 watt handhelds. Pretty awesome. Now for handhelds, we've got a totally different story. Okay guys, we're gonna do a handheld range test from inside the farm shop. The harvest crew is maybe, a mile or so out that way. We're gonna see if it reaches particularly through the side of the building. There is a window here which will help a little bit, but we'll see what we get. We're gonna start with the business band and try and talk to Noah, who is currently on the grain cart. Here we go. Business band first. All right, Noah, I'm starting on the business band radio. Do you copy? Okay, so that's the business band. Sounds like he heard me, but I didn't really hear him very well. Granted, this is an older business band unit. It's got some miles on it. Keep that in mind with that system. Here's a brand new Midland handheld. Let's see what we get with this one. All right, Noah, now I'm on the Midland one. Do you copy? Does this sound somewhat clear to you?
Yeah, it's actually really clear.
There we go. Okay, I'm gonna grab one more business band and run the test a third time, just to see if a different business band unit sounds any better than that one. All right, here's the consensus, guys. This one can transmit to Noah, but I can't hear him. I can hear Noah just fine on this one, but I can't transmit to him, and he doesn't hear me. This works both ways. There you go. So as you can see, the Midland actually outperformed a more rugged and more expensive business handheld unit. I ran a couple other tests during harvest and found that the Midland handheld was able to effectively communicate with the Midland 50 watt between an 8-mile gap and a few line of sight limitations, but similar elevation. So all that considered, pretty impressive. You gotta remember, these things are very much determined by line of sight in general. Finally, we'll talk about pricing and buying options. Midland units can easily be ordered online through their website, where we can see that a pair of handhelds is $90, the 15 watt bundle is $220, and the 50 watt bundle is $460. Comparable business band models can be ordered through some online stores, but you'll likely be going through a local dealer who will order your units on your behalf and then program them for you. Business handhelds will be a couple hundred per single handheld, and mobiles will likely range from $400 to $900. That makes Midland and the GMRS frequencies the overall more cost-effective option. There is one big benefit, however, to using business radios, and we use this a lot on the farm. So the EMS, Emergency Services channels, also use business band frequencies, which means your programmer can include your emergency dispatch and your volunteer fire department channels in your radios. So when you have a case where you need to go fight a fire on a volunteer basis, you can just use your existing units and switch them over to the DES and fire channels. So that's really handy. So here's my overall thoughts. If you are on a farm and you are currently not running any two-way radio solutions, get some Midlands today. They're worth it. Two-way radio communications will improve your efficiency when working on the farm, as it's a much more robust communication style compared to cell phones. And Midland offers the easiest and most inexpensive entry to two-way radios. You don't have to be a ham radio geek to use any of these things. They're easy to use. So if your farm is still using CB radios, I would recommend considering an upgrade either to Midland GMRS or a business band solution, depending on what your particular needs are. If your farm already uses business band, I don't think it's worth switching your entire fleet to Midland GMRS. But we actually found that having a second set of radios on GMRS in addition to the business fleet was a handy little secondary line of communication. Mostly because my dad likes to talk a lot and keeps clogging up the main channel. But seriously, it was kind of handy to have these little Midlands on the farm. So overall, Midland has an impressive product line that's both easy to use and powerful enough for mission-critical farm communications. We'll get some use out of these Midland units in the future, so thanks Midland for sending them out. And thank you for watching this video. I know it's a bit of a different format from what I usually do. It's not really a out and about type of vlog, but let me know if you want to see more comparison and review videos such as this one. Otherwise, I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks.